Hey guys, it's nice to meet you again. This is Sami. You're welcome back to our demo. Today, in our demo today, we're going to have a little demonstration on how we can upload and download images from the database using Spring Boot. So in this application, we're going to generate our project from the Spring.io website. So quickly, let's head over to our browser and just type in Spring Initializer and hit enter. So here we are going to be directed to the website by clicking on this link here. We'll be directed to the website, the Spring Initializer. You see, so here I'm going to leave this. We're just going to leave this on Maven project and Java, and here we are going to change the group ID of this. So for this, I'm going to just have it as com.fix fix the code. So this one is going to be com.fix the code, and this one here is going to be sb file upload downloads and demo. So this is what we're going to do here, and this one here in our package, I'm going to remove the hyphens from our package here. Just going to remove all these here. Okay, so now having done this, we're going to pick some dependencies that we're going to be using in this little demo. So the first one I'm going to pick here is Lombok, that will help us to get rid of getter setters. The second one is the Spring Web, that will help us get access to our controller and the rest of the Spring activities, the web activities. The next one we're going to do here is actually the data JPA, that will enable us to have some free CRUD data from the JPA repository. So the next one here we're going to have is mysql, because we're going to be uploading our file to database, and for this we are going to use mysql for that. So here we have gotten 4 dependencies, and I think these are the basic things we need right now. So as we go along the tutorial, if there is any need for us to add any other dependencies, we just have to go to we can always go to Maven repository to add dependencies to our POM file. So having said this, now I'm going to just click on generate, and here we're going to be asked where to save this project. So I'm just going to go to D, and you can choose any directory to save your project, but for me I'm going to save it in my directory here. Now I'm going to open this directory and right click on this project. Then here I'm just going to extract the project here. Okay, so now we can see that the project has been extracted. So now I'm going to right click on this project and open the folder as IntelliJ project. So now we have this already, it's opening, and I'm going to open this on, let's just say, the same window. Let's open it on the same window. Okay, so now we can see that our project is downloading here. Is opening here, and you can see that our dependencies have been resolved in the Maven in the POM file. So I'm going to close this down, and here we can see that our project is still importing. The Maven is still importing. Now it has finished. Our project has finished importing, and here is our POM file, and this is the dependencies that we have selected earlier, right? Okay, cool. So now I'm just going to open up the project, open up the source folder, main Java, and we can see our main class here. This is our main class, right? Okay, so now I'm going to right click on this package and create a new package called domain. I'm just going to call this domain, right? You can call it anything, but I'm just going to call this domain for our tutorial purpose. So I'm going to right click on domain and create a new class called file upload. I'm going to call this class file upload, right? I'm just going to copy this because I'm going to make use of it later. And I'll just hit on enter, and here we got it. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and so we can see what we're going to do clearly. Now this file is going to have some attributes. So the first one here is going to be a variable of type string, which is the ID, and we're going to have another variable of type string, which is the name of the file. So we're going to have the file ID and the file name, and the next one we're going to have the type of the file we're going to be uploading, right? So for that, we're going to have a variable called file type here, file type. And after this, we're going to have another variable that will actually hold the binary data for us. So for that, we're going to have the byte array, and we're just going to call this data. So this one is the, sorry, here. So this is the actual data. And for this, we are going to have a couple of annotations here. The first one we're going to have is the entity, the JPA annotation that will help us convert this class to a table in our database. Now we going to have the lombok for getter setters, and we're going to have the non-arg constructor for default constructor, because we're going to generate a constructor that will have this attribute for us. So before we do that, let's quickly specify the primary key of this table, this entity. And the the generated value type is going to be of type UIT. So just going to generate to specify the generator here. So here we specify the generator, and we're going to have this as UID. Okay, UID. And now we're going to specify the generic generator, and here we're going to have this of type UID, right? Sorry, yeah, it is UID. Sorry, oh my gosh, what am I doing? My keyboard is not functioning. This UID. And now we're going to specify the strategy, and we're going to just have UID 2, right? So this is what we need to do here for our entity class. And the last thing we're going to do here is to, maybe not the last thing, and the next thing we're going to do here is to annotate this as a large object binary, right? Which is the main file that will be converting to byte array and save in the database. Now we are going to generate the constructor for our class here. So for that, I'm just going to press down the Alt key and insert. So here we have this, and I'm just going to select these 3 attributes and click OK. So here we have generated a constructor for our class. So now we are done with creating our entity class. So I'm going to close this down. And the next thing I'm going to do is to create a class called the response class, file upload response. So I'm just going to call this like this, file upload response is a class. And I'm actually going to zoom in. And for this class, we're just going to have the same attributes, right? Like the same attributes, but not just the same attribute, but we're going to have like 4 attributes. We're going to have the file name, the download URL, the file type, and the size. So this is what we're going to have here, and also we're going to have a couple of annotation like the lombok. So this time around here, we're going to have the all arg constructor and the no arg constructor. So this is all we need to do here. So let's close down this class. So the next class we're going to have is called the service. So I'm going to call this, oh sorry, so this one is going to be file upload service, file upload service. I'm just going to copy this again. I'm going to make use of it later. So this one is called the file upload service. And now, before we do anything here, I'm just going to create another class here, new Java class. And this time around, this one is going to be the file upload repository here. Actually, this one is going to be an interface, not a class, an abstract class actually. Okay, so now this one here is going to extend the JPA repository that will give us access to the free JP. Yeah, this JPA repo that will actually give us access to the free CRUD operations. So here we're going to specify our file upload class that we just created. And what is the ID of this? What is the ID of the file we specify is string. The ID is of type string, right? So this is all we need to do here. So now we are done with our entity class repository creation. So let's close this down. Now we're going to go back to our service class. So let's go back to our service class, and I'm just going to zoom in here. Right, and right in here we are going to need the object of the repository we've just created. So for that, I'm going to have a private file repository is here, right? So we're going to need this repository, and I'm going to just call this upload repository. And this one here we're going to auto wire. So for that, I'm going to say all arg constructor. I'm going to add all arg constructor to, so we can auto wire this through the constructor. And having done that, I'm just going to annotate this with add service. So this one is a service, it's a service class, right? So we have to annotate it like this. Now the next thing we're going to do is to create a method that will actually do this job of uploading this file for us. So for that, we're going to have a public. We're going to have a public method. So here we have public, and this method is going to be of type file upload, right? So here we're going to call this method save file. So that is what we're going to call. And this file is of type multi-part file, and we're just going to call this as file and cut the braces. Now the next thing we're going to do is to get the name of the file we want to upload to database. So for that, we're going to have a variable of type string called file name, and we are going to set this to string utils. String utils. So we are going to get the one from Spring, right? And we're going to have the clean path, and so what we're doing here is to get the name of the file we want to upload, so we can validate the name of the file, right? So clean path here, we're going to have file dot get original file name. So we're going to get the original file name from here. I'm just going to end it there. So having done this, we are going to validate the name of this file, if the name is valid or not. So for that, we're going to have the if statement. So if this file name contains invalid character, dot here, for example. So if this one contained this invalid character, so we're going to throw an error invalid error. So here we're going to throw exception new exception, and in here we're going to pass in some string to alert the user that the file name is invalid. So what we're just going to write here is we're just going to write the file name is invalid, and we're going to end it here. Actually, sorry, this one is actually a file name, and we're going to add actually the file name that we've just passed in. We're going to add it here. Okay, and if not valid, sorry, if the file name is valid, then let's go ahead and create the object of the file upload, which is file upload and equals new. Let's create a new file to be uploaded to the database, new. And what are the things we need from this file that we're creating? So we actually need the name of the file, the things we're going to save in the database. So we actually need the name of the file, and after that we need the content of the file, which is file, no, not this, which is file.get content type. Sorry, this is get content type, and after that we're going to get the bytes, which is the data of for the image itself that we're going to save together in the database. So here we're just going to see file.get byte. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit so we can see everything we are doing here. And now we're going to terminate this here. So having declared this, so we're going to return, actually we're going to call the upload repository to actually save this file to the database. So we're going to call save, and what are we saving? We are saving the file to be uploaded, which is the file upload here. So now we are going to handle this. I'm going to surround this with try and cache. So we have this here, and this one here, we're going to throw this exception. I'm going to add this signature there. Okay, so here we have this. There's this one is going to be inside. This is going to be inside the try and cache. It's going to be inside the try and cache. So here we have this. Here we have this, and we're going to have this curly braces here, and this is the cache, right? So this one here is going to be before the cache. It's going to be here. Okay, so we have this, and we have this. Okay, so we're going to remove one curly braces from here. Okay, cool. Now I'm just going to close this gap a little bit here. All right, so now we are done with the upload the file, the method that we actually save this file to the database. So after this, we're going to create another method that we download this method, that we download this file from database. But before then, we are going to specify a message here. Let me just make this a generic exception instead of runtime exception. So here we're going to have this like throw a message to the user, right? Maybe file could not be saved. That's if there is error. Just okay, file could not be saved because there is an error. Was really okay. Add this signature here. I hope nothing is everything all right? Okay, yeah, let's hope everything's all right. So now let's create another public method that will actually download this file for us. So for that, we're going to have a public another method with type file upload. So here we're going to call this download file. So we're just going to call it download file. And the file we're going to be needing the ID of the file we want to download. So for that, we're just going to define a variable called ID, string ID, right? And straightforward, we're going to return the repository to actually find that file by ID. So say repository.find by ID. We're going to find by ID, and we're going to pass in the ID here. And okay, this one's going to be optional, right? So let's say .os. Let's throw an error if the file cannot be found, or else throw. And in here we're going to pass a message here. Just going to put lambda expression to pass new message. So new exception. We'll put new exception here. Exception section. Actually, don't really need those. Runtime exception is a shard of this, but I'm just going to make it this section. And now we're going to pass in some strings, some message strings here that we actually tell the user what happened. So we can say, okay, file. Okay, just let me break this down so we can see what we're doing. So we just say a file with ID here, this here, ID. So we're going to have the file ID here. So we're going to have plus file ID, and again we're going to have another plus and concatenate another string. So here could not be found. Could not be found. Yeah. So a file with ID this could not be found. And here we're going to add the signature, right? Let's just add the signature here. Okay, so these are the two methods we need in the service class that we actually interact with this repository, with the service repository, to give us what we want to do. So having done this, we're going to create a controller. So just right click on this and create an upload controller. So I'm going to call this, well done. This is called file upload controller. This is going to be controller, right? Controller here. And now this is the controller. So we are going to here we are going to define the endpoint that will actually do this upload for us. So here we're going to need the object of the upload repository. So the upload service, file upload service. We're going to need the object of this, and we're going to call this upload service straight ahead, right? And we're going to auto wire this. So we're going to have all our constructor, and this one is going to be a REST controller. So we're just going to add REST controller here, and then we're going to have a public method that will actually do this for us. So here we're going to have public, and then we are going to make use of this file response we created last time, remember? So this is what we're going to use here. So we're going to call this guy here, and we're going to say upload. The name of this endpoint is going to be upload file, right? Upload file. And remember, the type of this file is multiparts. multi-part file. I'm going to call it file, and we're going to just have the curly braces here. And this one here, we're going to have the path variable here. So here we're going to call it a path variable, and we're going to specify here file ID. Though this one is not really required. This one is not required. If now it's required because this one is different. This one is different. So here, if sorry, I'm trying to explain something here. What I'm trying to explain is that, let's see. So now we're going to annotate this with post mapping, right? Now let's look at what we're doing here, post mapping. And we are going to call this endpoint upload. Yeah, upload, right? Upload. I'm sorry, we are not doing this here. We are uploading. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm thinking. Thinking faster than what I can type. So this one is the upload, and this one is going to be param, not at path variable. It's going to be param at param request. Is going to be request param, and here the request parameter is going to be file. Okay, so this is the parameter we're going to look for, that the application is going to look for to upload the file for us. So here we have done this. We are going to come down here to create a variable of type file. So have file upload variable. So we're going to call this attachment. I'm going to call this variable attachment. Attachments, right? And I'm just going to set this to none for now. Just set this to none. Attach, yes, attachments here. Is it not correct? It's correct now, right? Okay. Then we're going to have declare a variable that will hold the URL of which we can use to download the file, the uploaded file. So for that, we're going to have a variable called download URL to hold the URL of the file we uploaded, right? So here I'm going to set it to an empty string. And now we are going to use we are going to assign the file we're going to upload to this attachment, attachment variable we just created. So now we're going to say, okay, attachment should hold the file that we are going to save in a database. So for this, I'm going to call the upload service dot save file. So what are we saving? What is the file we are saving here? So we are going to save this file here, right? So I'm just going to pass, sorry. So here I'm just going to pass in the file here. So I pass this in, and I'm going to throw this exception. Yes, just throw this, no need of catching. All right. So having done this, we are going to assign the URL of this uploaded file to the download URL variable we've just created. So for that, I'm going to call this guy here, and we're going to build the URL. So for that, I'm going to call the servlet URI component builder. So we're going to build the URL of this. So we're going to say dot from current content part, current context part, so to speak. Sorry. And then we're going to have, I'm just going to break this down. Let's break this down so to be clear. And here we're going to have dot path. And now the path here is, we're going to build a string here, So here we're going to have download. So now we are building the URL of which we can follow to download the file that we're going to upload. So here we're going to come down and say dot path, and then we are going to get the ID of the file that we want to download. So here that's going to get ID, right? And then we are going to say dot to URI dot string. So this is what we need here. Now, after that, we're going to create the object of this guy here that will actually return the composition of all this we have composed, the name of the file and everything we have composed. We're going to create a new object to send everything back to us so we can make use of it, right? So for that, we're just going to return new file response. And here, what are we returning? We're actually returning the name of the file, which is attachment dot get file name, and we're going to get the content type or get content of the file, the type of the content, and also I'm going to break this down. The font is big, right? So I'm going to break this down, and here we're going to have the file dot get the size of the file dot get size yeah, get the size of this file here. Okay, so this is what we need. What happened here? Create a constructor. Okay. What? Yeah, but here we have all arg 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we have all arg constructor. So why are we creating a constructor? What is missing here? File name. This I think something is missing here. Okay, the URL, the download. We have not included the download URL. So here. Okay. So now we have gotten everything we want. Let me zoom this out a little bit. It's too big, so we can actually see everything we have on the screen. Okay. So now we are done with creating the endpoints that will actually upload this file to the database for us. So now let's create another endpoint to download the file, the endpoint that we can use to download the file by passing in the ID of the file. So for that, we're going to have another public. We're going to have another public method here of type. This time, this one is going to be response entity. This one is going to be type response entity. This one here, and we're going to pass in resource here. Resource. So this one we are getting from Spring Framework.core.io. I get it from the core Spring Framework here. And then the name of this method is going to be download. We're just going to call it download. And here, this is where what I was thinking last time. So here we're going to pass the file, the ID of the file we are downloading in here, right? So now, having done this, we are going to create an empty, a variable of type file upload, right? So here we have file upload, and we're also going to set this to none for now. And after that, we're going to just straightforward code our repository to actually get this for us. So here we're going to have file upload equals the upload service dot download file. So this is the method we declared last time in our service class, right? So now we are going to pass the ID of the file we try to download in here. Cool. Now, after doing this, we're going to return the response entity. We're going to return the response, which is the file that we've downloaded, right? So now we're just going to say return response entity dot okay, right? Dot okay, and here we're going to pass in the content type, the content media. So here we have the content type, and what I will pass in here, we're passing in the content media, the content media content media type dot pass. We're going to pass the type of the content we have. We bring it from the database, so we're going to pass it here because we don't really know the type of the file. You know, it might be of any type, so we're going to pass it to know, so that's to get the exact type of file we're getting from the database. So now I'm going to have this file upload dot get file type. We're going to get the type of the file that we're going to pass. Then now after this, we're going to pass the header too. So we're going to have header. We'll have header, and here we're going to have the HTTP headers. HTTP headers here. HTTP headers dot content disposition. So, and here we're going to have the this one here we've just created. So we're going to have it here. Actually, not really. We're just going to have the header string, right? The header content. So sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. So we're going to specify the header content for this response to be returned, right? So I'm just going to have this consistently. That is why I'm putting this here. So we're going to have file upload, and having done this, we're going to have the file name equals this // and we're going to escape this. We're going to escape this from here, and we're going to add, we're going to concatenate the actual file name to this header, right? So now we're going to have file name, file upload get file name, right? Get file name. So this is what we're going to have here. But this one here, I don't know if this font is too big. Yeah, let me make it so this. So here I'm going to concatenate again this here, this and another, and here, and end it here. There's a mistake somewhere. Okay, this, right? Okay. What's going on here? Oh, sorry, this has not come to an end. I'm going to break this down, and now we're actually going to pass the body here. I forgot to pass in the body. So here we're going to pass in the body, and which is the array, the byte array, right? So in here we're just going to have new byte array resource, and it's going to be the file upload, which is the file we just gotten from the database dot get data. So we're actually passing the body of this file to our header, right? So here I'm just going to throw this exception here, and what is going on here? Cannot be what? There is something happening here. Yeah. okay, sorry, we're going to have another stuff here. And what again, what is the issue here? I made a mistake. mm, yeah, oh, sorry, I don't have to close this here. I'm sorry. So this one is the header. Okay, cool. Here's the header here. All right. So this is what we need to. These are the two endpoints we need to download to upload and download files. So here I'm going to specify this as get mapping, get request, get mapping, so to speak. And this one is just going to be download, download like this, and we are going to pass in. We're going to pass in the ID, which is the file ID here. So we're going to pass this here. Now, this one here is a path variable, right? So we're going to pass this path variable here. So we're going to say at path variable, and this one is going to be file ID, right? So this one here actually, okay, this was supposed to be file ID, right? So this one here, this one is not needed if this name here is the same thing with this name. For now, we'll see that this name is the same thing with this, so this one is not needed, but I'll just put it for clarity's sake, right? Okay, so now I think this is all we need to get our file upload and download. So having done this, we are going to test run our application, right? So before then, we're going to declare some properties in our property files here. So for that, I'm just going to copy some properties from here. I'm just going to copy some properties and paste here. So you can pause this, project and write, or you can just download the full project from the description. There's a link below this video that you can just click and get the whole project code from my GitHub repository. Okay, so you don't have to. So this one, I'm going to change this to admin. Yeah, this is admin, right? So have this password and username and password, and all this here are things we need. So this one here are the multi-part specification. So the size of the file that we need, this is the maximum size of the file, request, stuff like that. So these are just the configuration to help us upload our file. And here we can see that we've enabled multi-part file so that we can actually process file upload in this application. So we have to enable this, set it to true here. And this the size of file we actually, so which means if the file is bigger than this, we cannot upload it, right? So, and the request size, so if the size is more than this, we cannot get it. Okay, it cannot be uploaded, so we're going to have an error. Okay, so here we're going to specify the name of our database here. So I'm just going to call it file DB here. So this is the connection to our database, MySQL. This is the localhost, and the default port of MySQL. So this is my password. This is my username. This is my password, and this one here will set to auto to create our table for us in the database. So having done this, we are going to make sure that this name here, this file name actually exists in our database. So for that, I'm going to swing over to MySQL Workbench, and create a new schema with this name here, with a name called file DB. And after that, just create apply, and finished. Okay. So now I'm going to refresh all. We're going to see that we have gotten our database here. So I'm going to make it default. Okay. So having done that, we're going to go back to IntelliJ and actually run our application and see if everything goes well. Okay, so now I'm going to hit on this play button to run our application. So I'm going to enable annotation processing, enable annotation processing here. So let's assume everything works fine, everything goes well. Okay, I'm going to zoom this out, and I'm just going to close this down, and let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so we can see that. Let me go to our console. So we can see that our project is actually building. Preparing to run, right? So let's wait for a few seconds to see what we have gotten so far. So for that, I just want to quickly take a review of what we've done so far. So this is the Hibernate dialect, and this one here, in case you're not familiar with this, we have different options here. We have the update, we have create, validate, we have create, we have drop create, just like that. So this one here means we're going to create, if the table does not exist, it's going to create a table, and after that the subsequent running is going to update. If there are any changes in our entity class, it's going to be updated right there in the database. So that is what we've actually done here. So I'm just going to close this down and see what happened. Oh, port already exists. Okay, I think we didn't set port here. Oh, sorry, my mistake, my bad. So here I'm going to set a port here. I'm going to have server. Sorry, I'm going to have server.port, and I'm going to take this 9191 here. Sorry, waste too much time doing this. Okay, so let's run it again and see what we got. We can see that our project is building again, and so I'm just going to close this down and leave this one open, and maybe where's our service? This is our service class. Leave this open too in case of any problem. Quickly dash into this and see what is going on. Okay, so now we can see that our project is actually creating, and now we see that our project has started here. It has started, right? Okay, so now let's check our database if we have gotten a table here. Let's refresh. Okay, cool. So we can see that we have gotten a table here called file upload, which is the class we created. We have the ID, the data, the file name, and the content type, which is file type, but nothing inside. So what we're going to do is to open up Postman so we can actually test our API to upload a file. So for that, I'm going to open up Postman. Yeah, I'm going to open up Postman here, and I'm going to just enter a new endpoint. So this one is going to be localhost. I'm going to remove this. So remember we set our port to 9191, right? 9191, and slash upload. So that was what we set. And now this one is going to be post requests, and we're going to go to the body and form data. So this one is going to be the file, the param we set last time as file, and we're going to choose the type here. We're going to choose the type here, which is file upload, and here we're going to upload a file. So what we upload? So let's upload this. And I'm going to send it, and let's see. Okay, cool. So we have 200. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. Good. So here we have 200. Okay, and this is the URL, the download URL we set, and this is the type of the image, and this is the name, and this is the size of the image. So what we're just going to do here is to copy this download URL, and let's actually go to the browser to see if we can download our file or not. Command open. Okay, so I'm just going to paste this here and hit enter. Okay, cool. So here we see that we're actually downloading. So I'm going to save this to desktop here, save it here, and I'm going to open it up here. So we see that this was the file we uploaded, right? So this was the file we uploaded to our database, and we got it back. Okay, and if we quickly go back to our database, we see that, let's refresh. So we can see that the ID of the file and the file data here as blob, that the name of the file and the type of the file. So everything works just fine, right? Everything works just fine. Okay guys, thank you so much, and this brought us to the end of this little demo. Thank you so much for staying around, and I really appreciate you coming, and please don't forget to subscribe if you have not done that, and please don't forget to share as well. Please like my video and share as well. Thank you so much, and hope to see you again in our subsequent demo like this. Thank you, and have a good day. Goodbye.